Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
Some people believe that actually cryptocurrencies are the sort of a new stage, a pivotal point in the whole market, in the whole financial field. And we often think that those are just like loud words, and we don't really think that this is true in near future. But the more you would dig into the matter, the more you got familiar with general scheme of things and part of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in this area, the more you would like having additional pieces of the puzzle which you combine in the whole picture, and that doesn't seem to be that laughable or that ridiculous. I mean, this theories about the new economics, etc. So today I would just like to draw a couple of examples which are interesting in my opinion. So let's look at them. You're watching Crypto Hamster channel. Let's go.
Let's go.
First, let's look at the situation at the market as usual, and we don't see any like big changes. The capitalization is the same, total capitalization of the crypto, and the price of Bitcoin in the same range. Some of the altcoins are gainers, some of the altcoins are losers. Mostly the capital just flowing from one to another and vice versa. So while we don't have anything in particular to be mentioned, like interesting, I just want to show you a couple of things. Or let's start actually with this one. There is a coin called Raven Coin, and it got listed on Binance recently, but even before that it started to have some appreciation in price, and it had made like 3x recently for the like, I don't know, this 2 weeks, maybe like 1 week, 10 days, 11 days. So, and although I like this project, this is very promising, but despite that, I would still look at that with a bit criticism. It looks like, again, like even the XRP increase in price, which we saw recently. So if you had this, I would think it's time to at least have a partial coverage, partial fixing of your profits. Of course, not financial advice, make your decision by your own, but nothing in this market from like there is no altcoin which holds its levels for the recent, I don't know, months. So be very careful, guys. Well, maybe like a couple of the exceptions, but they're still you wouldn't win just by hodling. So this is one thing. Second thing is that in this global scheme of things, which we used to look once in a while, if we'll compare the previous previous bear market and current bear market and the rise after the bear market, I just put some rough periods of time and rough increase in price and decrease in price. So actually we had like 50,000% of this increase, and like 10,000% in this increase. It means that at this time we should have maybe 5 times lower, which is like 2,000%. Also, those periods just make it very rough. I don't think that we can really predict or expect something matching within like few days or something like that. But making it very rough, we can say that the bear market which we'll look at now should be over somewhere at 2019, maybe September or August or something like that, and it will actually point to this nicely to this curve, like this non-linear envelope function for those minimum points of the Bitcoin price. And also in the case of the bottom is already here. In fact, if we look at this part, we need to look to go a little lower, which would make us actually start to be a bull market a little earlier, exactly as Stonebase said, by the way. But even in this scenario, the bear market will be over here, so we'll start to rise from that point, and then probably the price increase will be somewhere around here at $120,000 in the end of December of 2021. So a lot of time to wait, guys. And then actually this line is more is closer to that, so who knows. Well, actually this is a logarithmic chart, so probably linear is more reasonable to that. I don't know. Anyway, this is just a rough estimation, but technically, just want to repeat that, technically we are in a very long recession period, so be patient and don't expect too much. It's better to think to expect something worse and then have a nice surprise about that. So finally, which I was going to look at is to see this global scheme of things and the place of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in this picture. And now I would like to look again at S&P 500. Some people say there's no correlation, or there's a very minor correlation with crypto, and I wouldn't particularly agree with that. I think there is a significant correlation because it's big money here, and crypto is rather a small one. Small market, but this huge one should affect crypto quite a lot, one way or another. So we know that recently we had some drops and worried investors, worried traders about the possible bear market for stocks, and we've seen a lot of trembling in this field, but we are, as crypto investors, we are considering this with respect to crypto and what will happen with Bitcoin price and altcoins, etc. So, and since it is often compared, so people often compare Bitcoin and crypto with dot-com bubble because, oh, this is a bubble too, and yada yada yada. Let's look at S&P during 2008 and also this period. So you see, when we had the huge drops in stock markets, I don't think that those drops can be associated, for example, with the drop of dot-com bubble, right? Because of course a lot of the companies were in stocks, but the dot-com bubble also contained a lot of the very small projects which died, etc., etc. But anyway, the market itself, without even dot-com bubble, was quite oversold in my opinion, and the thing that it dropped was not initiated by the dot-coms. It was initiated by the more global processes happened with economics, finances, etc. And the same thing happened here. So if we will see the drop of Bitcoin, significant drop, and people will say, oh, this is because of that, there is a correlation with the stocks, but it can be just because of the stocks dropping, not because of the Bitcoin affects that. So it's an obvious direct correlation, but not the otherwise. And the thing is that while dot-com bubble was quite a bubble, there was no infrastructure, there's no industry inside that. With Bitcoin, it's completely different, and one may think it's a bit of conspiracy theory, but still one may think that all the dot-com bubble was initiated in order to save stocks for a while, a little bit longer, to push it forward, in order to get some money from the retail investors to hit up the stocks market a little bit more. And then when finally the money was there, money was in the market, the smart investors went out from the market, sold their positions, and basically a lot of the regular, usual people got lost their money. But with Bitcoin, situation is maybe quite different. You can't think of the crypto as some kind of the pump which will sucking in the money from the regular people in order to boost the stocks. It was already quite in a bull territory. First. Second, crypto is much more technologically advanced than dot-coms. And third, you may actually think about this in the opposite way, that while dot-coms may be considered playing this role, the Bitcoin may be considered to be playing the opposite role, to let people go out from the stocks. Of course, it's the ultimate case, but it is still possible. Like again, while we may think of the dot-coms as a fuel to stocks, actually we may now think about the stocks as a fuel to crypto. And regardless of this like craziness of this concept, of this approach, I still think it's much more possible than the same can be applicable with the dot-coms. So that's the standpoint which we shall look at. And actually now when we see some very worrisome events happening with stocks, I think that more and more people can look at the crypto, turn their heads. So even like institutions or not institutionally, even like private investors, still it's much more favorable situation for crypto than it was with for dot-coms back in the days. So that is it for today, guys. By the way, just let's look at our lovely Quark chain. You remember how it went down? It seems like it holds the support at it's like 845, 850 satoshis. So we'll see how it will behave eventually. Maybe we will have something like double bottom, and at least locally, and then we'll return to the channel. So let's hope. By the way, I didn't want to say to talk about altcoins a lot, but still Qtum looks quite bullish, so it returns some of its position recently. Hopefully it can make some more progress on that. But with that said, I shall end up this long video. Sorry for taking you that long, guys, and have safe trading. Hope you will be well this for this period until tomorrow, until the new update. And goodbye, guys. Goodbye.